I want to talk about Kanye West today. It is fairly relevant to figure out exactly how Kanye West came to be this notorious anti-Semite in just a matter of weeks. It all started on October the 3rd when during Fashion Week, Kanye and Candace Owens appeared with these White Lives Matter t-shirts, which was humorous, they thought, also obviously a protest. It's important to note that Kanye's career as a fashion designer hasn't been that great. He's been really troubled lately because he believes that Louis Vuitton fired him basically for the wrong reasons. It fired his assistant. He feels that people have done him wrong. But on this day, on October the 3rd, is at Paris Fashion Week, and he and Candace Owens, a product really of the Mercers, many people say, this black conservative figure who has a talk show and a documentary coming out. He and Candace Owens are big supporters of the MAGA movement. But to them, they show up with this White Lives Matters t-shirts and they get roundly criticized. But lo and behold, October the 6th, just 2 days later, who jumps in to interview Ye? Tucker Carlson, who probably never had reason to interview Ye before, suddenly gives Ye like a couple of big nights to discuss his concerns about the world, which includes his concerns around Jews and about Louis Vuitton.
I felt with Bernard Arnault, not only did he pull on the deal that contributed to me breaking down and go back on his word with that, he also went on to hire multiple people out of my organization.
That's really his beef. He's got this beef with Louis Vuitton. And I think the guy that he's talking to happens to be Jewish. And he's got these, Carlson does this lengthy interview, quite weird, but there's a little bit of anti-Semitism. I mean, there are a couple of very anti-Semitic comments about Jews not being able to dance as well as black people. They're not various kind of Judaism or Jewish people, but they're still fitting to that category. And certainly around the idea that Jews control the financial world, media world, he leans into that quite a lot. So then on October the 18th, Roger Stone shows up on Alex Jones's show and he articulates that it might be a great idea to have Kanye run with him.
I still think that President Trump will run in 2024. I still think that it's conceivable that, I don't know, he could announce the Saturday before this election, which would have an electrifying effect on the election itself. And thinking outside the box, I think his running mate, in all honesty, should be Kanye West. You want to completely shake up and change the electorate? There's a ticket I could really get behind. Now, I'm for the president. I would be very clear about that. But if you want to see the globalists and the political establishment go out of their minds, put forward a Trump-West ticket.
I know they're friends. You think Trump and Kanye would go for it together?
Look, I can't speculate about that. I think he'd be an extraordinarily interesting candidate. And that's the thing about politics. If you're not interesting, if you're boring, the voters go elsewhere. So
That's a pretty good idea. Have you told Trump the idea?
I'm not going to comment on that. I like to think outside the box, but I think it would electrify the electorate and it would change 100 years of history. I just throw it out there as an idea, but I think it's intriguing.
I think it's a great idea. So we need the Trump-West ticket.
Yeah, let's see who can get the t-shirts up and out faster, you or me.
This is funny, of course, but it's also the same way we got to January the 6th. These two characters basically are the reason that January the 6th happened. As we look at the creation of the Ye anti-Semite narrative, which existed for a few days, it really originates out of the Roger Stone universe. And it's funny that it originates out of the Roger Stone universe because Roger Stone is supposedly, at least told people all the time, that he's an avowed Zionist. So you've got these two sort of conflicting ideas that he's backing anti-Semitic figure in Ye and also being pro-Zionist at the same time. And it's one of the challenges I think that the GOP is having to struggle to understand how to react to this particular thing. Fast forward to November 22nd, and then this is when Trump invites Winters and Ye to a Thanksgiving dinner at Mar-a-Lago. Truly a strange thing to do. I mean, he of course knows who Fuentes is. So he's not fooling anybody by saying he doesn't know who Fuentes is. But I want you to listen to these takeaway ones from that dinner.
I think the thing that Trump was most perturbed about, me asking him to be my vice president, I think that was like lower on the list of things that caught him off guard. It was the fact that I walked in with intelligence. So Trump is really impressed with Nick Fuentes. And Nick Fuentes, unlike so many of the lawyers and so many people that he was left with on his 2020 campaign, he's actually a loyalist. When he didn't know what the lawyers is, you'll still have your lawyer list. And when all the lawyers said, forget it, Trump's done, there were loyalists running up in the White House, right? And my question would be, why, when you had the chance, did you not free the January 6ers? And I came to him as someone who loves Trump, and I said, go and get Corey back. Go and get these people that the media tried to cancel and told you to step away from. He basically gives me this would-be mob-esque kind of story, talking to some kid from the south side of Chicago trying to sound mobby or whatever. He goes into the story about all that he went through to get Alice Johnson out of jail and how he didn't do it for Kim, but he did it for me. But then he goes on to say that Kim is a you could tell her I said that. And I was thinking, like, that's the mother of my children. Since we know, and all the Christians in America that love Trump know that Trump is a conservative, we're going to demand that you hold all policies directly to the Bible. When Trump started basically screaming at me at the table, telling me I was going to lose, I mean, has that ever worked for anyone in history?
You're going to lose. Tell him he's going to lose.
I'm like, well, hold on, Trump. You're talking to Ye.
West talks about how Donald Trump really loves Nick Fuentes and how it was such a big deal that he walked in there with Nick Fuentes, who by all accounts is also anti-Semitic. There's no doubt about it. But he's more like a comedian. I'm not scared by these guys. Speaking as a Jew, I'm not scared that these guys are going to come after me. I just feel like they're just a bunch of cartoon characters participating in the Roger Stone show. There's Milo and Fuentes all on the way to Tim Pool, which is also an unusual show. And that's where Kanye West walked out of that show.
I feel like it's a setup to be like defending. I'm not going to go through another, like I'm literally going to walk the F off the show if I'm sitting up here having a, talk about, you can't say that it was Jewish people that did it when every sensible person knows that. I mean, Jon Stewart knows what happened to me and they took it too far. It was like American History X. Like my head was on the side of the curve and the exact people that I called out kicked my head.
And I think what we're seeing here is he's prosecuting his own personal concerns around LV in the context of him losing that contract with LV. And either these guys are taking advantage of him, or he's playing along and he's just doing a big show as he's been prone to do, or he's had a really rough time in the last few years. All of these situations suggest that he shouldn't be a front man for any of this kind of stuff. But it does seem to me that Roger Stone is pulling the strings of whatever is going on behind this whole anti-Semitism.
Do you think Roger Stone's Israeli intelligence or Russian intelligence or...
I think it might be Israeli intelligence. I don't know, but he maybe both. I don't know. He certainly quite openly likes to declare that he's pro-Zionist all the time.
But I'm wondering who's really behind this.
I find it very difficult to understand how a party can reconcile being pro-Zionist and also house anti-Semites. It just seems like there's an inherent conflict there, and I don't see how the GOP can reconcile that without actually being quite deliberate about getting rid of one or the other, unless they enjoy that tension. The truth of it is, these are much more than just dirty tricks. They do cost people's lives. They do ultimately impact how people think about their country. They do take away the oxygen from other news, as you pointed out. They're a distraction from other news. And Roger Stone may walk around feeling like he's some sort of circus master, but truthfully, he's caused a lot of damage to the American political system. When you look at who really pulls together the whole anti-Semitic ecosystem, you've got Roger Stone, Alex Jones, Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Milo, and Nick Fuentes. This is how we got to Kanye West is an anti-Semitic figure, and let's give Nick Fuentes a whole bunch of free airtime in the last few days by putting him on the air. This is not, it just doesn't strike me as being like organic anti-Semitism that's risen from the grassroots up. It's a play. It's a play that's been placed in front of all of us by an intelligence operation or some sort of grouping, and they're just sucking up the oxygen. And when you really think about it, Rupert Murdoch's certainly very close to Israel. He owns Tucker Carlson's show. The Mercers own Candace Owens. Mercers and Murdoch probably own Donald Trump. We are talking about basically an intelligence operation that's going on.